the carnival is back, and now we are on Zoom because basically some people just don't have time to come to the theater. COVID's a thing. Some people live far, far away. So we are in Patrick's Fortress of Solitude with red and blue tiles to protect the noise. And for Zoom, you're going to have a lot of interesting people on here over the weeks, but we need a really good guest. So click the bat signal on.
Okay, here it goes.
Mike, Mike, good to see you.
Good to talk to you guys.
And Mike is actually he's a friend of mine for many years, and he was part of the carnival from the beginning, but we can never get him on because of the times and because he's involved with a major theater and he's busy and everything. And we're finally.
I'm not busy. I haven't been busy the past year.
Okay, I have to admit one thing. You've done some films. When I saw AEW and everything. And MJF, he is Connor Miles from Suicide Watch. He really is.
MJF is a colossal douchebag. I can relate to that person.
Mike did a film called Suicide Watch. He had a guy named Connor Miles who was like this douchebag. And I just think the character of MJF is that guy.
Wait, hold on. You were in that?
No, you told me about it.
Oh, as a second, I totally forgot about that part of my life. That was like
Connor Miles. I just remember, and you worked actually on Cherry Crush and on the Alphabet Murders.
Yes.
Yep. And our friend Jill Rittinger was in Cherry Crush for a while.
Nice.
Told me those Elijah Dushku stories that were pretty funny.
Oh.
Yeah, she's not a nice person.
Well, you can share a little about the breaking out in high. She won't sue us.
She was, luckily on that set, I was not a production assistant. I was locations. So she would treat like the production assistants like garbage, make them run out, get Red Bulls and do all these other things. And then she broke out in hives one day and it was just a colossal mess. And I remember I was stuck in a basement because she was filming a scene upstairs and you can't walk on a locked set. Yeah. So I was stuck in this basement for about 8 hours with my friend and I couldn't go to the bathroom or anything. So I just straight up pee in this guy's sink and, a bunch of other things. It had to happen. I couldn't move.
Oh yeah, no, you got to do what you got to do.
But it was some guy's house downtown. I hope he never found out about that. But hey, if he's listening to this, he now knows that his sink has urine in
it. Hopefully by now.
The statute of limits. Wow, this smells really.
Well, you never know.
It's got a wang smell to it. So how is basically like you said, nothing in the last year because of COVID.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. I know you've been trying to get me on this thing, but the girlfriend situation, I had a girlfriend like last year at this time. So that takes up a lot of your time. And I've been trying to keep busy.
And like the Eddie Nebula and the Plague song about Rochester girls, we won't go into that.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you sometime. Yeah, we want this to be not a family show with something that's entertaining.
13, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, you never know on the way things are going now. One of my friends, I was telling Patrick before we started, he got yanked on Facebook for a month because Spielberg was doing West Side Story. He said he wanted to see Scorsese do it. They got him for promoting violence.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
A Scorsese West Side Story, I think, would be an odd thing to do, though.
No,
I'm not sure how he would do with something like that.
Just do Gangs of New York and make it a musical, and just set it a few years later.
But the one thing we certainly have to talk about a lot is all things Batman, because Mike's a huge fan. I'm a huge fan.
I'm always down to talk some Batman.
And the thing is, I've been going through Harley Quinn, and what do you think of the depiction of Bane?
I don't mind it because Bane's kind of one note. So, in that show, they kind of, I wouldn't want Bane acting like that in a live action movie, but in a comedic.
Worst movie ever, maybe for Batman, Batman and Robin.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just watched the Pit episode where he's all Mr.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we have to, it is a safe space. You didn't make your bed.
Now, I'm looking forward to the next season of that. They're making it now, so
it's really enjoyable. I mean, I like the whole thing with like Dr. Psycho, where they catch him, he says the naughty word, and then he's gonna go on to try to. But then they get him where they catch him and they're torturing him by showing feminist reels. He's no.
His voice annoys me though. Well, it's grating, very grating.
He's like Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, a little bit.
So. But that's the thing in terms of Batman films. I think I know in terms of Batman versus Superman, we both waited for this. And what was your take on that? I remember you had an interesting take about, okay, these are like gods. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you cut everything Superman out of that movie and just make it a Batman movie, minus him killing like literally like 70 people in that movie, minus that aspect, I think that's the best Batman on screen. The way he looks, the way he conducts himself.
Patrick, you're shaking your head a little.
No. I am agreeing with you on the. I hate, and they do this in the movies a bunch, is when they make the Batmobile a tank, with the exception of, Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, and that's, the whole idea of that is a strange thing that you're now seeing. But now all the movies, he always has guns pop out and start blasting things. It just,
that's true. Very true.
Ridiculous. It's just, I got a lot of opinions on Zack Snyder that are not, they're not good. They're not. I don't think
he's a great visualist. But when it comes to screenwriting, when it comes to anything relating to character, or he's just not very good. But his visuals are fantastic. I think he's very visual.
Is somebody like Burton too? I'm not really familiar that he doesn't know comics.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
Yes,
I feel like
he obviously does not know comics at
because
all.
Burton supposedly is really a snob about comics. He just sort of looked down on them.
I feel like they both just flip through the comics, look at the images, and take what they can from that. They don't actually read the book. You know what I mean?
I'm one of those apologists, like for Ben Affleck too, because Batman's a bit of a douchebag, and he's older. He's paranoid. He's cynical. I think the line from that film is, "Alfred, we've been in Gotham for 20 years. Has it gotten better or worse?"
Yeah, that's exactly what he says. Yeah. I mean, I love when Batman's a douche, and I love when he's paranoid, because that's pretty much my entire personality. So, but,
I think, like you said many times, like with the books, he's prepared for everything.
Yes, I love that too, and I think the movie portrayed that because he was ready for Superman. In Justice League, he was pretty much the reason why they all come together. So he was important, but. I don't know. I mean, I feel like his Justice League was better than the original cut, 100%, but it was still too long, and it was still too self-masturbatory, I think, a little bit.
Oh, yeah. That's a great...
I saw all the slow motion scenes, all the slow fighting scenes and everything.
20 minutes. 20 minutes of that movie is slow motion.
Watch Rodney Piper versus Keith David in that fight, and they live. It's short.
I know that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
But I'm wondering, too, in terms of some of these things, is this for us comic book people we know? Is somebody who really doesn't follow it, are they going to look and go, what the hell is going on?
In what, Justice League, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you just came into that just cold, you would have no idea what the hell you're looking at, really.
You know where I'm going to go with this. One of the things I've heard that just gets me up in arms about this is when people will go, well, Darkseid's a Thanos ripoff.
No, not true at all. He was there first. He was
quite the opposite.
Yep.
But the Pattinson thing looks good. I'm
excited about that. I mean, it seems like they're doing something interesting with it, making him kind of young and sort of very brooding, very goth kind of. It's kind of an interesting take. I'm sort of interested in seeing how he does, because his look isn't. Yeah.
That Batmobile is really, really something. I like the muscle car Batmobile because it just looks awesome.
You also had a point. Patrick had a point. Out of all the years, this is the first time with Pattinson, when you take the mask off, you got the little.
You still have the where you actually still have they actually show that your eyes just aren't black inside the mask. It's literally.
That's very true. I don't know why they shied away from that before.
I shout out to Paul Dano. I really like Paul Dano as an actor. I think he's going to do a good job.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be good.
He'll be a good think? And I think you said, because I said it myself, that Batman Begins is probably the best Batman movie. Would you say that? It's your only.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a gun to my head,
not Batman and Robin.
No.
You know when that lost me? I started watching as soon as Arnold started singing the Coal Miser song. I was ready to pack it in.
I love Batman and Robin, but I love it for reasons that have nothing to do with it being a Batman movie. Yeah, it's a horrible Batman movie, but it's a fun little comedy.
That's the thing. I mean, that's why a lot of people give me grief about the Batman TV show with Adam West. I take it for what it is. And for what it is, that was Batman the comics at the time. It was stupid, It's campy. They made a choice to do it. The villains are done great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I'd
disagree.
rather hang with the villains because they had more fun than these square heroes or whatever.
Oh yeah, no,
You
yeah.
know, I'd like a candy bar. Would you not like some fresh fruit? It's better for you. You know, or Batman lecturing people on hygiene, or Batman, you know, talking about rum pots in the movie. About golly, but why they're seeing all these weird characters. There's a low crowd filled with rum pots. They can't trust their eyes. Gee, Batman, alcohol's a filthy thing.
Well, that was the thing. It was, you know, they were aiming this at kids, so they had to have a wholesome message in it, and I think they were having some fun with that too. You know,
And the thing we thought, our other cohort, Greg Andrews, said that they might have forced you back in the day that you had to put some kind of like message in it, like some good message. They might have. We don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised. It seems like it would fit with the times, I guess, right?
But do you have a film Batman that you would say is probably your favorite, or you think we're still looking for him?
Right now, I think Affleck, just because of his look and the way he. I feel like if you let him do that Batman movie that he was going to do, that he should have done, that movie would have been great. I feel like that would have been quintessential Batman, but well, unfortunately, probably never see that. He's in the Flash, which I'm excited for, but I think that's his last time doing it. So we'll see how that goes. But
And the villain of it, who was Deathstroke, was going to be the villain, I think, in the movie.
yeah, he was going to be one of the villains.
Yeah.
He was like the main villain. There are going to be some like secondary ones as well. But
It's always the one.
I think that like Affleck's Batman is definitely my favorite as far as, especially as far as the look goes.
yeah,
He doesn't look like he's wearing a suit of black Iron Man armor. with a
Yeah,
mask
yeah.
on,
Well, the
you
suit
know,
he
for
wears
once
to
this-
fight Superman.
Well, yeah, but the exception of when he, yeah, I'm talking about his regular Batman suit. So it's this thing that's this like Kevlar cloth kind of thing that's all, you know, you can tell if you look at it closely, it's been repaired a million times. It's like the Ship of Theseus shirt if you look at it really close.
yes, yeah.
And the bat symbol is you know way, and it's gray, and he looks the best in my
And I
opinion.
think too, like we've said, he's an older Batman. He's a grump. He's cynical.
Yeah.
He's surly. You know.
And if you saw that guy coming at you at 3:00 in the morning in an alley, you'd be like, "Holy shit, I got to get the hell out of here!" You know? Yeah.
Which I
But,
think is, you know, that's one of the things about him. But if you like, in terms, you think we've done a decent Joker yet, or are we still waiting for him?
I'm sick of the Joker. I feel like we should shelve him for a while, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that.
Too much Joker is not a good thing. I think Joker's at his best when he's used sparingly. You know what I mean? It's like just this force just plows through things. Very sparingly used. You can't focus on him too much because then you start seeing the cracks in the character. I don't think he's a very deep character like everyone makes him out to be. He's not.
No,
I think
he's
people
a force.
People
like,
depict him in different ways, is what it is. Like you can get like he's a gangster, like with Leto.
I like Leto. I like that. I liked him being just like this like flashy gangster type. It seemed that was like the most realistic version of the Joker I think you could do. Like because people would think
more
that's
like
cool.
he's in the Snyder cut more, isn't he?
No,
Yeah,
well, he's
like,
he's at the very
thing.
he's at the very end. He's literally the last thing in the movie.
He talks about giving Batman a reach around. He talks about
Yeah,
those sorts of things.
I preferred that version. I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't really crazy about the Jared Leto Joker, but that being said, you didn't really see him in Suicide Squad. You just saw little blurbs of him, and interesting to see. But I do, they were definitely setting up as more of like a street level gangster kind of guy, and that made sense for that world. But I think like I saw. Did you see the Todd Phillips Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie?
I did. It's another exercise in self masturbation with the director. You know what I mean?
completely forgot about that.
Yeah, no, because ultimately it's forgettable. I remember I was against it from the beginning for many reasons. One, personally, I don't. That's just me. Everybody else loves him, and I get it. And I'm just a weirdo because I just don't care for him.
I saw the movie
things.
before. It was called The King of Comedy.
Well, that's the thing. He just and there's nothing original in it at all. It's just it's Taxi Driver meets the King of Comedy, and the end, and that's it. And the Joker's jammed in there to get people to see it. I mean, Todd Phillips himself, he said he doesn't know anything or care about the Batman comics or the source material. It was like, well, why is he the Joker then? Why don't you just make an original movie? Oh, wait, because it's not an original movie.
And then they
it's two Scorsese movies jammed together, and they put the Joker in it to distract you from the fact that it's just two Scorsese movies jammed together with a hot actor who can't open his mouth and enunciate ever.
Now we jump around all over on the carnival, and you can talk about what you want. Yes. But I've heard
please cut us off.
So many people say Mortal Kombat's really fun.
I love that movie. It's nonsense, but I love it.
I'll have to see it. I
have a regret. I suck at the game so bad.
I used to play the old ones when I was a kid.
Well, I used to go. Terrace Gardens used to have it, and my mom would go bowling, and I would go grab my quarters and go play. I sucked.
An entire year at college was me and my two good friends playing on the Super Nintendo. I don't remember anything else that happened much in my junior year of college other than that, and some shows I was in. And that's certainly no classes or anything.
Now, one of the things is this will not be out on the Force, but this is one of those May the Fourth be with you ones. And how is you said some interesting things like when you were at your major theater, how is the fandom for the Star Wars movies? Did you say some guy was crying at one?
The Star Wars people are less annoying than the Marvel people. I'll say that. And
okay.
Exponentially less annoying.
I had one where I went to go see the Avengers, and I just come in and I walked home because the line was so huge to get in.
Yeah.
And I always picked what I call the crazy person times back in the day, where I go there and you'd see few weirdos with movies on off times. But for I remember going to see Infinity War, called up the IMAX, Buffalo, and literally got 2 tickets because somebody canceled at the last minute. It sold out in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What's your view on some of the Marvel? I think for me, I become one of those Batman. I'm jaded about comics because I've read them for so long. They seem too formulaic to me in a lot of ways. And for us, you would think growing up with this stuff, reading, talking about it, would be a dream come true that, wow, we can do the effects and everything, but they all just seem, I could predict the movie from the beginning. They don't thrill me as much.
They're very cookie cutter. I feel like they're kind of going outside their formula a little bit now with Shang-Chi and Eternals and all that. But to be honest with you, I don't give a damn about the Eternals. When have I ever liked the Eternals? Do you guys like the Eternals?
No, I know they are,
but who gave a damn about the Guardians of the Galaxy?
That's a true statement.
See, but I knew who they were. I knew the old ones.
That's the thing.
Good point, but
I'm an MCU fanboy, so take this for what it is. But I trust the people in charge. And obviously things can take a huge left turn at any time. And God knows, we've already seen a little bit of the effects of COVID on some of the stuff they put out, but very minorly. Like they had to cut out one whole storyline in Falcon and Winter Soldier because it involved a virus pandemic, and they were like, so it made a couple of things not land correctly, but so who knows? But also, the fact that they're releasing Black Widow movie way out of sequence 2 years later, but it's a prequel movie anyways, but it's going to introduce other elements. Matter of fact, we've already seen one character in Falcon and Winter Snowman who was going to be revealed in Black Widow.
Yeah, because remember, Black Widow was supposed to be out last year, May or so. But
I'm excited for
I had a train of thought, and then I think I got myself off.
Taskmasters.
One of the ones I do admit I really liked the Captain America Civil War one. I did and I like Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel movie. So
that's good. You said that Guardians of the Galaxy thing when I said Eternals. I think Guardians of the Galaxy had the advantage of having Chris Pratt, of having James Gunn as the director. Eternals has a bunch of
raccoon or whatever it is.
Yeah, Eternals has a bunch of charismatic people in it. You got Angelina Jolie. You got some unknown director I've never even heard of. I don't know. I don't think that's going to do as well as people.
Well, she's actually a pretty well thought of director, but not on this kind of thing.
I don't know. Yeah. But one of the things for me too was I love Neil Gaiman. That's one of his books I didn't like was his Marvel Eternals. It was almost like it was forced. It just didn't seem that good.
Yeah.
But I think the key is, it's like with Aquaman, the saying was like Jeff Johns said, it's not bad characters, it's bad writers. You pick the right writer, they can make anything interesting.
Yeah.
Which is true. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that I like the fact that they've kind of gotten a lot of really well-known characters kind of out of the way as far as having to always be front and center. But I really feel like because MCU started not probably by design, but almost by accident, with one of the second tier characters was Iron Man, who is depending on who you talk to, as far as Joe average guy. When you think of Marvel characters, you think of Spider-Man, you think of Captain America, you think of Thor, the
Hulk thing,
and then you might think of Iron Man, but but starting with somebody who was slightly not as much of a household name, it kind of got them off the mindset as like, you have to, they didn't start with Spider-Man, which they normally would have, but because they didn't have to start with Spider-Man.
Did they own the rights though?
Well, no, that's why. And that's why, absolutely.
But that's the thing too.
But it got them in the mindset of, we can make it work because all these characters, if the story is told right, are interesting, and they're more interesting, and a lot of them, in my opinion, are more interesting than the main DC characters.
And I think partly a difference with DC and Marvel is you go for DC, they got like the big three or so. For Marvel, it's more more down in terms of more, they're all known.
Plus they play in different tiers better to get like Marvel jockeys the street level to cosmic thing. Kind of, but they do it kind of by title. And then in DC, you never knew what the hell was going to happen.
But if you paid attention to the new Suicide Squad stuff at all?
Oh, I can't wait for that. That looks great to me.
That looks like it's going to be great. It looks like the Suicide Squad movie that should have been.
You've got the poor stupid shark. He always gets misplayed and everything. It's like a fool.
Stallone's playing the shark, though. You can't hate on Stallone.
Oh,
it is Stallone?
It's Stallone playing the shark, yes.
And then Cena's in there.
I'm kind of bummed that it's not Ron Funches, though. I really think Ron Funches' King Shark is really great.
But that's the thing. I know you're a big Spider-Man fan, and like one of the things I think like Ultimate Spider-Man, why people like it, is they put Peter back in high school where everybody really liked him.
Yeah.
I think that.
I'm ready for him to do some college stuff now, though, in those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're going, obviously. But
yeah.
No.
It sounds like this one's going to be Spider until where they're going to have like Tobey Maguire back, Andrew Garfield.
I think they're doing a multiverse kind of thing with it. They're going to, I think, and it's funny because I think everybody's they're doing that, they're doing that with the Flashpoint movie. They're going to have, so everybody's having fun with the multiverse right now because it's a fun concept, and it's going to be fun. And I hope when it's over that they just kind of put it away for a while, because that can get very like Crisis of Infinite Earths kind of thing, where you're like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm getting a headache from So
much of a good thing it could be.
Exactly, it's cool. If they
what was the one I remember going back to comic books? I think for both of us, Final Crisis was like the headache one.
Oh God, that was awful.
Oh my God, that was so bad.
I like Grant Morrison, but I don't like when he gets like too into himself. You know what I mean?
There's good Grant and there's bad Grant. I think where if he hits it, he hits it. Otherwise, he's so kitchen sink and out of it, he sucks.
I agree. I like his Batman.
Yeah.
Well, did you like the Black Hand storyline?
Oh, the Black Glove, you mean? Yeah.
Glove,
yeah.
I
did kind of like his Batman, most of it. I like most of his run.
The only thing I didn't like about that, I'm glad they changed it, was where they implied that Thomas Wayne, Alfred was having the affair. It would have completely destroyed Batman's reason for being if it was true, but they were just lying.
Yes. I kind of like that, though. That was kind of interesting.
Thomas Wayne having an affair with Alfred?
No, what was the thing?
No.
Okay, that would have been
something I think Thomas Wayne turned out
Alfred was banging Martha Wayne. And then
was the idea that maybe Batman was Alfred's son? Or was
Thomas Wayne was still alive.
Oh, okay.
He was the villain. Yeah.
Oh,
and they would have just taken away the whole idea. Like he faked the murder of Martha, I think, because he was boinking Alfred. This is getting Grant Morrison convoluted. I'm lost now.
Yeah.
But it was just a bunch
all proven to be untrue. But.
Yeah, it was just they were a bunch of crazies.
Yeah. It's it's the Elseworlds thing. It's a whole like, hey, this is the story that assumes this, and we go. It's easier in comics to have a series of books, that fall outside of the regular continuity. That if you're just like, I'm just a Detective Comics guy, I'll read these storylines and ignore everything else. But with movies. And I think that's what DC wants to do now, though, is they want their movies to not be related to each other. you know.
which I think is stupid. I think they should be related. I don't think they should be so obsessed with continuity like Marvel is, but I feel like they should all exist in the same universe, I guess.
Well, what they did sort of like with the CW, like where Supergirl's on Earth 2 or 3, and she pops over every now and
Well,
then.
they don't, but that's not the way it is because they did the Crisis on Infinite Earth. So there's all just your CW shows now all take place in the same Earth, except when they don't.
But okay, it does when it doesn't. Like this show, where sometimes we do intro episodes after the first episode.
That's just time, man.
But I do like one of my favorite scenes of all time from Grant Morrison was when they had Robin being Batman now, then they had the other Robins. Robin, what happened was with the black, can and glove came back, and the Joker threw a banana peel at him, and he fell on it. I just always
that was towards the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Joker finally does it when they rebooted it. But that's how Grant is, I think. He's just one of these that you have, like, in terms of your Batman runs, you have, like, some favorite runs in terms of, like, writers.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the Grant Morrison. I liked a good chunk of the Scott Snyder stuff. Are we talking modern era? Or are we talking, like, old
Whatever
school?
you want. I know you've been reading it as long as I have.
I've read chunks of, like, Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams and all that, but a lot of that old stuff I think is kind of 90s Batman was too crossover obsessed.
That was
yeah.
And then I must break you. I must break you. And I remember Tony saying, I guess he was telling me all these things about how originally they were going to kill Batman. He was going to give the cowl to Dick Grayson, and they chickened out.
They'll never commit to that fully. They'll always, like, whenever Bruce Wayne puts the cowl down, he always has it back within a year or two because no one gives a crap about anyone other than him as Batman. To be honest with you,
that was the one thing I think. The one thing that was actually realistic in Dark Knight Rises was that, you see how beat up Batman was from just the fighting, how what a physical mess he was.
Yeah.
But the one thing, But have you been, like, I know you're also a big Spider-Man fan, as we've said. How have you thought the movies have treated him? You said you want him more like a college guy now and everything.
I don't like how the movies are so obsessed with Iron Man. You know what I mean? It's like Iron Man did this for me. Iron Man's doing that. I mean, I like that he has a mentor in him, but I feel like they should move past that now. I feel like
I think that's the idea now, but I have a feeling that Robert Downey Jr. is trying to get back in again because his big breakout post Iron Man movie was a big old tank.
It had a dragon in it.
He's going to talk about that.
Doolittle. I don't understand how anybody. I can't imagine anybody thought that was going to set the world on fire.
Sometimes actors, they get too much freedom, and you see they don't have a good sense of projects.
Yeah. That's why you need good management.
But did you see Godzilla versus Kong?
Yeah, I wanted it to be better than it was. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I thought it was just kind of it whipped through. It was like real fast and whipped through everything, and it didn't really have any interest in the storyline. I just wanted to just get to the end and get out of there, type deal.
Well, I didn't know anything. Like I didn't read anything, know anything about it. I watched the other the other two Godzilla movies just so I'd know what's going on. Like that matters. But and I went in, but I did not like the Mechagodzilla thing was a surprise to me. It shouldn't have been, but I was like, oh, hey, they got Mechagodzilla. They're really trying to jam in 3 movies. They jammed in every monster except maybe for Gamera.
Yeah.
Poor Gamera.
Turtle boy.
He's full of turtle meat.
One of the things, I mean, back in the day, obviously, we'd see each other every week in Empire. How are you keeping up on comics?
I'm all digital now. I do Comixology.
That's the way to go. What's been good so far lately?
I mean, I'm not subscribed to much. I'm reading Batman. I read Suicide Squad. I read. I was reading Detective, but I kind of got pissed off at that and stopped reading it.
What was going on? Did they just mistreat him? Like they just poor writing or something?
Yeah, the writer was. She started well. The first issue was good, but the second issue was bad. I don't like when Batman fights monsters. I don't like when he fights like there's like zombies in this storyline and there's monsters and stuff.
Well, that's like
I can't get behind that.
That's like Peter Milligan. There were tons of complaints about his Batman run because it was all supernatural. It was all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's like you ever watch the Justice League thing when they bring him onto other planets to fight big monsters?
Yeah, I mean, I can deal with that because I think Batman should be on the Justice League, but he's kind of out of place in situations
And
like
he
that.
plots
And
to
you can-
have them all killed if he needs be, too. He knows all their weaknesses.
yeah,
That's
well,
just
that.
smart.
Yeah.
But I do like the line the Flash said, "What are your superpowers?" I'm rich.
Yeah.
I'm rich.
And he also said, "You remember when they redid? I think Jeff Johns wrote it when they redid Justice League. They had a dark side story, and the running joke was everybody was okay. I talk to fish. I do this. They point Batman. What do you do? That's all they say. What do you do? There was a good one though. Gotham Central was a good comic.
I've yet to read that. Actually.
You'll like it. I think actually you watched Gotham, didn't you?
I hated that show.
There's a
That
point,
show was horrible.
one of my points on it was okay. They don't realize this guy's Batman after all the villains come out. You're dressing up and you're fighting them. And
Well, they don't realize he's Batman because there was no Batman on Gotham. He was a little kid. There wasn't Batman until the last episode. So there's why there was no Batman. He didn't exist.
And that suit was terrible.
there was no there was a 12-year-old Bruce Wayne. That was it.
he got kidnapped by the Joker, and the
Yeah.
guy who became the Joker.
The problem was, the problem was they wanted the show to revolve around Jim Gordon, and people wanted it to revolve around Bruce Wayne, and they capitulated to that, and the show got weirder and weirder as it went on, and it was fun, but it was just like this isn't the story they were meaning to tell. And then they did the Alfred show, the Pennyworth, which I just, at this point, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Just if you're going to make a Batman show, just make a Batman show. Cause I just don't care about all these periphery characters.
Why can't they? Why can't they just make a, kind of a decently budgeted Batman show? I don't understand why they can't.
Yeah, that's a good question. Reasons.
I don't
There's
know.
no-
But it's
You
like
got two different live action Batman running around now. Why can't you have a third one?
Yeah, they're doing a Superman show now on CW. Why not?
I've tried so far. I just can't get into it yet.
I watched the first 5
I
episodes.
just couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
The first episode I liked, but after that I just stopped getting interested.
It's just like I already saw Smallville. And yes, it's a different, like but it's too much like Smallville. I was already seeing like, okay, it takes place in Smallville. Kids are going to high school. There's going to be a new kid that gets a superpower every week. We did this for like 6 years on that show.
Yeah,
Even they got tired of it.
I actually like Supergirl, but I'm just tired of the whole thing. The trope they keep doing. Yeah, Flash, obviously. Legends of Tomorrow, it's okay because of time traveling, but it's always, we have to go back in time.
Well, that's because that's one of the only interesting things that the Flash does, other than running fast. It's the thing. That's the problem was always the problem with the Flash. Is the Flash's whole thing was he's really fast, and after a while they were like, okay, that can't just be everything. He has to be able to go through stuff. He has to be able to shoot lightning bolts at people. Then he can run fast. He can go back in time, which is all cool stuff. But it's just like,
I envy him. He can eat whatever he wants because of his metabolism. And that one I like.
Yeah, that would be great.
But your
Very
superpower,
useful.
Mike, I always remember this. Like going to Empire, I get there, I yell at Tony, and like clearly the sign states you open at noon. I would go in there, wait for the books, sometimes take forever. We had his nemesis, Lex Luthor, the UPS man. Tony said was his nemesis.
Oh yeah.
I would go in there and either wait like forever or I'd leave and they'd finally come. You would pop in and they would just when they were out. That's
my timing, man.
Every time.
That's how I roll.
That's like,
I miss Tony. You miss Tony?
Oh, that's why. Like we're gonna if you can come back, we're gonna have a reunion show. I talked to Dave and my little boy there. I always wanted to dress up as Robin and Mike Mangione, and we're gonna try to have another reunion show. We'll get everybody together.
That'd be great.
I missed those because I wasn't there as much because I had stuff to do. And the saddest part was, when was the last time you actually saw him or talked to him?
It has to be like.
This is a long time now.
Yeah, it's been years. I mean, when did he pass away?
2012.
Yes, I think I saw him in 2011 or maybe early 2012, maybe.
Because remember, his brother had cancer and he died.
Yeah.
And he passed. And what happened to me is we would communicate, and I went in. They told me I went down. He was at Jim's store that he said he was because he lived right by there. He was going to come down, and I thought you better get there. Okay, you better get there. You don't know how it's going. and Mike Mangione was trying to keep me updated. What happened was I went down. There was that one hippie dude who worked there I used to talk to all the time with the beard. And I'm staying around. He's supposed to come down, so I'm staying around as long as I can. He never showed up. Then he passed that Sunday. But it just seemed like it was a part of our life for how long, and then it was just gone.
That Wednesday routine, man, I miss that sometimes.
No matter what I did, I said that to people. My whole life, it was good, bad, whatever. It was always those Wednesdays.
Yeah.
You'd see your friends there, and you'd be talking until they threw us out.
Therapy.
Yeah. And then Tony was just Tony was such a quirky character in every way.
Yes, very dry, very intense humor that he used to have.
Yeah, so those were fun days, and I make fun of his van or whatever. I used to tell him not to smoke, but what can you do? Just have licorice.
Oh, yeah. That was a lost cause at a certain point.
No, it wasn't his brother. But the funniest part was when I first went there, I didn't know they were twins. So I go in the other store, and I thought it was Tony because Jim I started talking to him. He's giving me this look because I act like I know him.
I never met that guy. Never saw him.
Maybe you did. You don't know. But one of the funniest ones, I probably told you the story. The one time Chekhov was in town, Walter Koenig, he was speaking. He collected the Pong things. He came into Empire, and he said he wanted to work the register. So Tony's like, you got the money if you break anything. He let me look at, so I just walk in, and I'm in my usual days to get my books, right? I go in, I just do a double take, and I go, wait a second. Hey, is that Chekhov working the register?
That must have been a surprise. That must have been nice.
Yeah, and he was a real nice guy, but you expect to see Chekhov working the register at Fire Comics?
No. Well, I don't know. Maybe mid '80s. They were doing the movies then. I don't know.
It was when the Pongs were out. He spoke, but remember those
Pogs?
Those Pogs.
Pogs, yeah.
Pogs. Yeah, because he was a big fan, and I guess because Tony sold them, he came in for it.
Those slammers, you got to slam them with the slammers, man.
I don't. Yeah, did you do a thing with them? Did you like?
Yeah, you had to slam them, and then they would spread.
You know, one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Pokemon, was it Pokemon Go? What was that thing? It was like I used to hang out at Caverly's on Sundays late night with my friend John Adams. We'd get there late, and we'd be hanging out. You would see people walking around like zombies, like 3, 4 in the morning.
They still do it, man. It's still a thing.
Doing their treasure hunts on these.
It's still a thing. People still do it.
I read comics at the age of 33, but that's embarrassing. I feel like Pokemon.
Yeah, no, like I can't judge.
I do that at age 34.
There you go.
And have you followed the Independents at all?
Comics, you mean?
Yeah. Well, movies too, if you want.
On either side, there's nothing that really, especially during the pandemic, nothing that really stuck out to me. Honestly.
Well, there's one list by Caitlin Yarsky. She's like a really good artist and everything. And she did it on Image. She actually just doing a new book for Dark Horse coming out afterwards. And it's really good too. And I think I found a couple problems. Her art's really good. A lot of books I've seen, the art sucks.
Yeah, lately it seems like that end of the stick's a little.
Now, I'm not going to judge because I can't draw stick figures. But do you ever have chicken or egg? Okay, like in terms of if you're reading the book and the story is good, if the art is like really bad and it really just affects the book.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that question.
Okay, chicken or like in terms of art for comics, if the story's really good but the art is really, really bad, does it really affect the quality for you? And you just go,
I'll suffer through it, but it does kind of impact the reading experience, I guess you can say.
I mean, it's a big part.
That's what you're looking at.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that was like remember back in the 80s when it was all like the Image, like Liefeld and McFarlane, it was all the pretty pictures and the bad writing.
Yeah, 90s was the worst offender for that.
Or Liefeld, I guess like they called it Homage Studio because I guess he had guys just copying stuff.
Well, they were just, that's
why they called it Homage. It was an in-joke. Like and I'd see like, oh, this is the Hulk. This picture's out of proportion and everything.
The whole criticism about Image was that you have a bunch of artists who decided that they could be writers, and then throw out half of what makes comics work.
Kaylin did a series called Coyotes, which I think you'll really like, and we'll get cameos on it if it's a cartoon. But I'll get you copies of the trades. I can get some.
All right.
Like when I'll come to that theater if I find out where the hell it is.
Yeah,
like Isle of Malta or something. But how do you
very hidden now? Secret location.
In terms of being involved with the theater, okay, a lot of times now, like we're talking Star Wars a little because of its May. Like back in the day, I've heard from people who grew up then. I wasn't born yet. Uh,
Liar.
but it's my show, damn it. But you would go see a movie. Now you go see it, whatever. After it was done, that was it for a long time. You'd have to wait for it to be on TV. There was no video. How do you see this, like, in terms of the experience of going to movies now? Because we can get stuff on video, stream it, and everything. Is it still fun going to the theater?
Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to lose that theater aspect. I think you're going to get maybe less people coming in, but like something like Mortal Kombat,
yeah.
Like something like Mortal Kombat did really well opening weekend. It did.
That's
like
what I'm wondering about in terms of like the Snyder Cut or Godzilla. How are they doing this? Where
Snyder Cut didn't get released theatrically.
No, okay. So now, how did they? I know it's coming out on DVD in June.
Yeah, but that's
But how the heck are they making? Is it the deals they're making with Netflix and all this stuff for HBO, whatever it is, the Max?
HBO Max.
Is it they shelling out that much money for these things where they're doing good?
Well, I mean, HBO Max runs Warner Brothers, or Warner Brothers runs HBO Max, so they're kind of feeding themselves in a way. But
it's all about subscriptions. That's it.
I don't know if you saw, but Regal did an exclusive distribution deal with Warner Brothers, where only Regal will be showing Warner Brothers movies starting next year for the first for the first 2 months. I guess it is.
I'm wondering in terms of like scheduling, because I know like the Bond movie last year, all the things we talked about, Black Widow. Is there going to be? It's like I'm seeing now with Friends in terms of gigs. Like Abilene already is filled up every day they're open for gigs, and there's not many places to play. Is there going to be like this big glut in terms of, okay, what are we going to put out, or are they just going to push stuff back? Or did it get closed because of the pandemic? Some things that had just closed down from filming.
No, this stuff seems like they're parceling things out. At least when it comes to movie releases, now they're not like unloading everything all at once. You know what I mean? They push some things into next year, and it seems like they're spacing it out very cautiously because they're not entirely sure yet how people are gonna consume movies going here on out. You know what I mean? They're trying to see if they're gonna go to the theater, if they're gonna not want to leave their house. I feel like the push right now, though, is to people want to get out of their house. That's why you're seeing things like Godzilla versus Kong, Mortal Kombat do like way more than they thought they would do because people just want to get out of their damn house.
I could speak from, I do help booking some concerts and stuff. And what I'm seeing is we're doing some gigs and actually the prices are more because we have less people and they're selling out like that. And the other thing I'm seeing is, like, for example, my good friend Tommy, is friend of the podcast and the D&D we do. He just did a solo gig because modern day, he was going to do his new band Moongator, but his partner got COVID. So he had quarantine, but he was doing it down at the Spirit Room. And if you've ever been Spy Bar, it's really small and narrow. And I had to pass on like a friend's gig this week because I'm thinking, okay, it's very limited. Okay, most things, if I'm going out, I'll make the rounds, go to 3 places, whatever. I'm going to have to get there an hour early. It may already be no seating. It's not worth it. And I know for theaters, it's going to be whatever capacity it is now. Probably not.
We're going to be assigned seating now once we reopen. We weren't like that.
Are we in a freaking grade school? It's like you got to sit here. Remember that? It's like you had to sit. I always got the weirdo in front of me just because it was like somebody with a last name like S had to be like the class wacko would eat pencils in front of me and stuff. I don't want one of that.
I like doing the assigned seating. Because I would get tickets online, way ahead of time, just so I could know exactly where I want to sit, but with COVID restrictions, you're just not going to be rando sitting right next to you. They get
because you remember with Tony, he would give out the free movie passes.
Oh yeah, to the premieres. I remember.
Like some of the ones in Henrietta, I don't know how many. It must have been radio stations. Sometimes you would go in there and it was just so crazy packed.
Oh, too packed.
I went to see my friend. I had to wait. She was actually worked at the Old Toad, and I had to wait for her. She decided to go shopping before we went to go see Scott Pilgrim. So we showed up, so we had to go sit right in front, and I got vertigo because the place was so packed.
Mm-hmm.
But he used to give those. I think he gave you one, the IMAX for Dark Knight at the Buffalo thing.
Yes, I was going to say I ended up seeing Dark Knight like 4 days before it came out. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, because Tony, when he pulled it, because he did it to you and he did it to me, he's like, there's a surprise in every package. So what's he do? He gives me an O.J. Simpson comic with the free Dark Knight. I bet
just what you wanted, right, Rob?
That book made a killing.
Hey,
well, there you go.
Allegedly.
Punning it today, huh?
There's like some there's still stories that you see that Batman sold that something it's like 2.7 million or something recently, some first issue of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed that, but I'm not surprised.
Story, but there's always the rumor Tony had something to do with that Detective Comics book that sold.
I heard that too. I heard it was Action Comics too. Didn't he have something to do with the?
Yeah, because the real story I heard, especially with them, obviously, like we went in the store, they had the real stuff in the tons of comics. They had them in vaults and stuff. Like they could get them for you, but they didn't have the most valuable in the store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that makes sense.
But I like Tony was like he had that little like car salesman stuff to him. I remember one woman came in, she wanted Silver Age Flash, and he gave her like Mark Wayne. I was like, Tony, what are you doing, man? She won't know the difference.
Oh man.
Because he would say, like, people would come in, he had some guy come in and point out, like, Freddy Krueger and go, I don't want this in, I don't want that in, I don't want that. And he said, I don't want you in the store. He had that wit about him, more like his regular customer. He could be like, he had that, as you said, he had that sense of humor.
Yeah. He wasn't afraid to offend you. He was not.
And we had like there was the one weird dude. You have to remember this guy. I used to call him Stephen Hawkins. He used to come in. He wore a Spider-Man suit under his thing. All he did was collect Spider-Man.
I never met that guy.
No, it was like I don't even know his name. I just called him Stephen Hawkins because he came in. He seemed like a real smart kid, but he wore a Spider-Man outfit under his clothes. And like Mark Vivenzi would come up to me and like, oh, he's wearing the suit. He's wearing the suit.
I wonder how often he washed that. Probably not very often.
But there was another guy who came in. He would buy action figures every 3 months, spend like thousands of dollars, just pick up every action, like all the models and everything.
Yeah.
You know, some people, it's amazing what they collect in the day where we liked what we liked.
To be honest, I couldn't stand anybody that went in that place besides you, Rob. And Tony.
I feel blessed.
Yeah, you should. It's you and everybody else.
That's great. That's like one of the best compliments I've ever had.
Well, there you go, Rob.
What do you see for the future? Do you think comics, and I've talked to Caitlin about this a lot, she hopes they're going to go on, but do you see comics eventually just going digital or going, because obviously in the day, the only thing before I let you talk, obviously sales, remember back in the day, you'd sell tons, the X-Men won 5 million. Now I'm not even going to look, but I bet in terms of top sales would be probably not so hot.
Yeah, it's usually the events now that sell the most. Those summer event comics, like the ones that Marvel puts out every other month.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I learned to hate? I used to hate Free Comic Book Day.
Oh yeah, it's the worst.
That was the worst.
Yeah, that's like discount day at the movie theater.
Caitlin always talks to me and says that, well, I hope, I'd like to do this for like 5-10 more years. But I wonder in terms of, especially because she's working indies. Yeah. I guess her books sold like Coyotes. They sold out the first print, but she said then it goes down a little. And I never figured that out, why, maybe some people get number ones and then don't follow them.
Yeah.
But I wonder how it's going to go down like 5, because before, like now it's a lot more digital. And I think the other thing is now how many times have they have number ones?
Well, it's constant, almost every year.
Didn't DC restart their whole universe now, obviously, like some years ago?
Yeah,
it was back in 2011, I think they did the.
I feel like they've done it a couple of times, but
they have. Yeah.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I feel like you'll probably see less comic shops, unfortunately, but I don't think you're going to see them go away because, there's always going to be that audience for the physical copy. I need to hold it in my hand type deal, There's always going to be those guys. And I like physical copies for the graphic novels. I don't like physical copies for the floppies, though. I like
what I've gotten to be now is what I do is I get I just buy the trades because I can store them a lot easy and they hold up. But I mean, I think you read the Jeff Johns, the 3 Jokers story. You telling me that was pretty good?
I like that a lot. The art was fantastic. You can't go wrong with Jason Fabok there. But I like Jeff Johns too. I liked his. It kind of had a weird ending, but I think it's worth a read if you haven't read it yet.
I think they tried it like with the Joker. They just tried. It's like Wolverine. They wrecked him by doing the Jamie Howlett and all the origins when he was more of a mystery.
Oh yeah, the bone claws. The bone claws, the worst thing in the world for Wolverine.
Well, Marvel
I always
does
thought
it.
they were stupid.
Like with Ghost Rider, they'd have to have Ghost Rider and everything because he was popular. Then you get sick of him.
Oh yeah,
Stuff
the
like
worst.
that. That's one thing. Anybody can answer this because I don't know myself. Who would you want to see in a movie, like really get featured, who hasn't been in one yet, like a character? Any character you want from comics.
Someone who's never been in a movie yet?
Or like if he was like, say, he had like a really big part in Shield, or like a really mention, but it wasn't really done right.
I'd like to see
hero or villain. Hero or villain doesn't matter.
I mean, I'd like to see Daredevil in a movie that's good. But I know there's already been a Daredevil movie and a Daredevil series. I love the Daredevil series on Netflix, but they're like not counting that anymore or something.
There's rumors that they're gonna. There's rumors that there's consideration of bringing those characters back in, and there's a reason why they couldn't, because there was an agreement with Netflix that they couldn't touch those characters for a certain amount of time after the series ended. So they had like 3 or 4, maybe 5 years. There's this time period that legally they couldn't do anything with those characters, and the relationship between Marvel TV and Marvel Marvel movies has always been very rocky because Jeff Loeb and Kevin Feige, I guess they don't really play well together. But that, it's a whole inside baseball.
You didn't really like Jessica Jones, did you?
I hated that show. Oh,
I had to ask because I actually.
I liked it.
Did you like Luke Cage? Like Luke Cage was pretty bad. I know you because I know you were a big Bendis fan.
Not anymore, but I liked his early, I liked his Avengers stuff. I can't stand to read him now. He's writing Superman and they're bantering back and forth for 30 pages, and I can't stand it.
I think that was always Bendis's weakness to me was he would take 6 issues to start the story. He would have the intro, the next one, then it was just or somebody else would just write it in one issue.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing Justice League now. And
well, I know
he's focusing too much on.
He did Young Justice. I know that because I read the trade.
Yeah, now he's doing actual Justice League now, though. But it's almost entirely focused on that original character of his, that Naomi, that no one cares about.
Oh, well, that Secret Invasion too, where it's like everybody's a Cylon, everybody's a Skrull.
The Skrulls. Yeah, I miss the Skrulls actually.
They're coming.
They're coming back. Marvel.
Yeah,
they were in Captain Marvel. So, but I would like
that series.
People might laugh at this, but I'd like to see Deathlock done right. I think the character's got layers. They're going to have The Rock play him if they play him.
All right. Well, The Rock.
I'd like Idris Elba to play him.
Idris Elba's playing Bloodsport in Suicide Squad.
I liked kind of how they did like in the first couple of seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with August Wilson. I think his name. Yeah, dude from Angel. I thought he did a pretty good job, but
Oh yeah, he was in that, wasn't he?
He was very, very the first couple seasons of that.
Yeah,
when they were still tied in with the MCU, and then they had to throw them into the far future so they couldn't be in anything.
Well, The Rock is Black Adam, obviously.
Well, yeah, that's his. Yeah.
Yes,
that's his whole thing. That's filming now, I guess.
But I guess
it is. Yeah,
Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate. They're going to have Hawkman in it.
Yeah, it could be good. It could be fun.
I think he's a good badass too. What'd you think of the Shazam movie?
It was fun. I mean, it wasn't my cup of tea personally, but it was fun. I'm glad it exists. I like Christmas movies, and it was a Christmas movie. So
yeah.
If you haven't seen Last Christmas, that's like the best Christmas movie ever.
I didn't see it. I meant to, but I never got around to it.
That one is like I own it. I watched it like 20 times at least. It's just in terms of because I do have Christmas music and Christmas films, and I thought Love Actually was the best, but Last Christmas is better.
I'm a big Jingle All the Way mark, so don't get me started on my Christmas.
The Lobo paramilitary Christmas special.
Is there such thing? I didn't even know that.
Oh, that's so funny. That's like absolutely hilarious.
I think it's on YouTube. I think somewhere.
Well, it's a comic book. So.
No, but there was a like a God, I don't know. It was a while back that somebody did it. Somebody did a live action with very low budget. It's out there though. It's crazy.
Do you have like a guilty pleasure in terms of like that, or is it just Christmas movies? This is something about Mike we all know. Mike loves the snow, and he pisses people off around here with comments about it.
I'm usually happy when most everyone else is miserable. So If everyone hates winter,
You and
I'm loving it.
my mom loved the snow too, and it's like almost like a reaction. Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't gotten like flagged online for making people miserable when it's like, it's 30 degrees this week, it's gonna be 30.
That's right. You got to remind them. You got to remind
Some people
the
have to
accurate
like it,
thinking.
No, my mom loved it. My mom would always complain about the heat and like go on about the winter, and then tell my dad he had to drive because it was too crappy out.
My mom hated weather. She hated pretty much all weather. You know, she would complain about all you know, if it was just, you know, mild and like 60 degrees, that's the only thing she could exist
But
in.
I mean, do you have any like celebrity those films or things you watch like to would probably be you'd never think you would like, but you do? Any guilty pleasures?
I'd have to think on that. Something that you wouldn't think that I
Have
would
anybody-
personally like.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh God, movies. I Friday the 13th. I love all them dumb Friday the 13th movies. We've talked about this before. All for different reasons.
Actually,
Some
I'll
of them
admit,
are
I
really,
will
really
admit
bad.
one, the Fast and Furious series.
Oh no, you like those?
No, the thing is, they are what they are. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just take it as dumb popcorn entertainment.
That's another big movie that's been, because we were talking earlier about, you know, what's movie theaters going to do. There's still a bunch of movies that have been held back. Fast and Furious 9 has been held back. The James Bond movie's been held back. Black Widow's been held back. There's some other ones too that I'm forgetting. So
I am hoping that Amelia Clark gets Mara. I just still holding out.
That'd be good.
They
That'd be
say-
good. I can't stand Amber Heard. She's the worst.
She's interesting.
you
I mean,
know,
she looks good, but that's
she's
about
nice
it.
to look.
Yeah.
I met her years ago at a film thing, and people were asking me, was she met me like briefly. She's gonna do weird stuff.
Yeah,
You know, who knows?
I just
she-
they were both.
She beats up Johnny Depp.
My takeaway on that whole thing is they're both shitty people.
Yeah, I would say that. Like
I think they're
of them
both
are innocent.
shitty people, and they were shitty together. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
You know.
Sounds like 90% of my last relationships.
Yeah.
we'll have another episode. Tommy will be on too about dating in Rochester.
I can't wait for that one.
Oh, that'll be.
Is that a good idea?
we
You
will
think
get
that's a
the-
good
we will
idea?
get monetized on that one. Did you see the Vin? I saw the Vin Diesel ad last night where he's talking about movies coming back.
Oh yeah, I mean they're pumping that up. 'Cause, you know, my location's reopening on the 14th, so we're getting all ramped up for that.
Excellent. Now you'll have to find this, and I think it's in Malta. But just ask for the phone. But
All right, I'll go
have you
get
been
on
following
that.
wrestling at all?
Oh yeah, I watch AEW and I dabble in WWE.
See, I watch AEW. Yeah, I tried to watch WWE, and it sucked.
Yeah, it's hard to get through. I watch the pay-per-views and I'll watch a little SmackDown.
It's like, what the hell?
No,
are you talking
I know. I've never been a big wrestling fan, but I appreciate it for what it is, and it's fun to watch. And I love the fact that AEW is a thing now, because I think any kind of thing where you have one choice and that's it, just it sucks. It just, you know, it sucked for the performers, and it sucked, you know, it just like, you know, so the whole like Vince McMahon era of owning all wrestling is coming to an end, which is only good for wrestling and wrestling fans.
And I think for the wrestlers,
Yeah.
because it sounds like WWE is a miserable place to work right now, but like you get like AEW, you get a lot more freedom and everything else.
Yeah, they're all contract workers, and they with WWE, and they didn't get insurance. You're talking about one of the highest risk professions you can have for hurting yourself badly.
Yes,
You know, it's ridiculous.
but yeah, that
Yes, AEW is good, but it's not. I feel like AEW fans are like cultists and they find it to be infallible in every way. I feel like it's got its issues, you know, and the WWE also has its issues, but there's good sides to both. And I think you shouldn't pick one over the other. I think you should just
you
enjoy
like what you
watching.
like. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
what I call toxic fandom and a lot of things. Like a friend of mine who's a writer wrote something recently saying how much hate he gets because he says people are just jealous of because they want to do what I'm doing. And I think like some people get like Star Wars is one example where it's like, you know, and pick anything where some people who are hardcore fans, they don't realize, okay, it's not real.
Here's my ultimate take on that.
I mean,
is that
yeah,
I
like
think I think it's the same in a lot of things.
Oh, I agree. Totally.
You have an incredibly vocal minority, and when they speak, everyone has to react to it. And it sounds like, oh my God, all Star Wars fans are horrible, all these fans. It's not. It's a small group of people who yell the loudest they can on the internet, and it's the same with everything.
I agree.
And it's just like, the best thing you can do is just be like, okay, cool, that's your opinion. Move on, say nothing about it, and just don't refer to it, and don't feed the trolls. Just let them burn out.
That's perfect. That's what I learned the last couple of years.
It's hard, and I can't do it. I have the same way. I see those, and I just want to grab them.
Well, I saw after Game of Thrones last season, and one very misunderstood character, and I shut up.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, okay.
Or like, did you have a favorite Star Wars movie? Yeah, I know you. I don't know. I never know if you were that big of a fan of it, because I'm like, people think I am, but I'm not like you. I mean, I watch it, but I'm not really a big fan.
This will be controversial, but my favorite one is Last Jedi.
I don't think you're wrong.
He loves it.
There you go.
The Last Jedi was definitely the best of the sequel trilogy, because it was the one that's the only one that seemed to have a definitive direction.
Yes, absolutely.
And it pissed everybody off. Though when you look at the one before and the one after, and I liked The Force Awakens. I had a really good time watching it, and I remember really liking The Rise of Skywalker when I watched it. But it's just like I judge them all on their own merit. It's like the biggest problem that trilogy had was they didn't have a roadmap. But there was good performances and cool scenes in all of them. It's like I liked that 3PO got to be a focal point of a movie for once. I thought that was cool. I like that because he's a character that just takes a lot of shit. I got sick of them introducing characters for 5 seconds, and they were incredibly important and then disappeared forever.
But did you see? Okay, it's like going around in this full circle. Episode Harley Quinn, the one where Batman comes back. They have two stereotyped geeks watching it going, this is woke crap, this sucks. It's all Batman.
Yeah, I love that episode. That episode
has the shirt on, Last Jedi, not canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other big mistake they made. Is they whenever you cave to that kind of thing, like they retconned stuff from The Last Jedi, which was a mistake. It just don't do stuff to make the previous chapter less impactful. Just like, because the minute you do that, there's just like, oh, he's going to retcon stuff. It's just like, it's not going to have the effect you want it to have.
What do you think?
The same people are gonna roll their eyes at it.
What do you think of Solo?
It was fun. It was a fun movie.
I mean, I think that's the most underrated of all the movies.
The score on that movie
for a different reason. Because you have one specific reason, and I don't have any problem with it. I thought that one specific reason did a very good job, but I also think there was other things.
Did you like The Mandalorian?
Oh, I love that show. Yeah, especially the second season.
Caitlin calls this. I'll do Caitlin's review. Baby Yoda is so fucking cute.
That was.
I hope he takes a break now. I'm a little Baby Yoda out. I think he needs to sit out a few episodes.
I think Grogu's going on.
But I think what The Mandalorian is too is when you take for a lot of Star Wars movies, you can have the space battle, crackerjack philosophy, the learning, like the young person learning, become the warrior or whatever. But I think it's a different plot where it's like an old Western. You have a quest, you have a thing to do, so it's something different.
Yeah, that was a whole thing. They wanted, the Mandalorian is like the rifleman or the guy, the lone gunman guy who, does, inadvertently collects these ragtag people that can come together in the end. And I loved that about it. I loved that even in each season, he would pick up these people and meet them, and then they would go away. And at the end, they'd all have a reason to get back together again and have a big fight with someone. And it's just like, I loved that about it. It was just fun.
But I also thought, like we've talked about canon, like all comic books, like you realize if you really not comic history, like we do, that in terms of like Batman, when he started out, he carried a machine gun.
Yeah.
He carried a handgun.
Yeah, he carried like a little handgun belly and a machine gun in one episode. But Superman, kryptonite did not even come from the comic; it came from the radio show because they needed something to get him with.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it came from that, and I think that Harvey Dent was Harvey Kent, and they changed it. And I think they did that because probably people wrote in saying, "Did Clark have an evil brother in Gotham?"
Yeah,
Did
that happen like just inadvertently? I mean,
some old books. He was Harvey Kent.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it was a misprint.
The Hulk was green because the inker screwed up.
The Hulk was gray because
he's gray. Excuse me.
He was gray because he was supposed to be green, but they didn't come out right.
You know, the Inhumans have lived on the moon, Atlantis, the Himalayas. I heard that series sucked.
That was very bad.
I never even saw that one.
It was real bad.
I remember, like an idiot, I went to I saw the first episode in IMAX when it released.
Oh, did you? Yeah, it was. Yeah, how did that go?
Oh, it was the best night of my life, man. That was one of the worst shows I've ever seen. Terrible.
Oh, this is like they had to cut on Medusa's hair off because they couldn't afford to do that effect all the time. It's like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, really.
Why are we doing this?
Jeff Loeb for you. Jeff Loeb.
Yeah, Loeb. You know, I like this Batman and Superman comic.
Well, I'm looking forward to that Long Halloween animated movie. Looks pretty good.
It does. That looks
really
pretty good. I like Long Halloween. I enjoyed those.
I like that they're doing the animated movies of all the big graphic novel stories. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of the animation is very good.
All right. Well, let's talk. We're over a little, but I don't know how much longer.
Doesn't matter. As long as it's interesting.
I have nothing to do.
I want to ask you. I don't know how much of that. How many? Have you seen a bunch of the animated Batman movies? You've seen
I've seen all of them.
You've seen all of them? Okay, so is there a particular voice? Because I know they're voiced by different people, different ones. So is there like a Batman voice that's like your favorite Batman voice?
Well, I like, you can't go wrong with Kevin Conroy because I grew up with him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Series. But this is kind of random, but I liked the guy who voiced him in Arkham Origins. Did you ever play that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like this young kind of badass voice. I liked it. I thought it was good. I don't remember his name, but he's like a big voiceover guy.
Okay.
But his voice in that was cool. I like that. I thought that was a good take.
Yeah, I know that Jensen Ackles has been doing him on a few of them from Supernatural.
Yeah, he's doing them in Long Halloween, actually.
Yeah.
But
my favorites actually aren't even Batman. I actually think Mark Hamill does really good as the Joker.
Well, yeah.
And I really like Batman Beyond.
Well, that's the one Batman animated thing that I don't like. I never liked it. You know why? Because Bruce Wayne isn't Batman, and I can't get over that. Like,
they were going to make a movie. They were offering Clint Eastwood the role, I guess.
Yeah.
And I also think Tara Strong obviously did a really good job as Harley.
Oh yeah.
But I can't like Haley DeCoco, like from Big Bang Theory. I don't even recognize her voice as Harley in this one. It's like I keep.
No, she does a great job.
But she does because I don't recognize, like, in terms of her voice, you wouldn't know who it was.
Yeah, I like that she doesn't do that accent. She doesn't. Do
that's one thing that I think that Margot Robbie broke to it was like not just carrying over that same accent.
Yeah, like Birds of Prey.
Like, yeah, it was fun. Yeah,
I like people have criticized it, and I've said it's coming from somebody's mind who needs a little help, so that's why it's skewered all over the place because it's Harley's mind.
Yeah,
like the scene with the egg sandwich.
Okay, Roger Craig Smith. That's the
guy
who voiced him in Arkham Origins. Yeah.
Yes.
Very
I
good.
liked him.
Well, it's so funny how the games are different. I remember there was a Superman game for Atari years ago. You just flew around the city, picked stuff up, and came back, and you were done.
I remember there was a Superman PlayStation game where you could I remember there was a demo for it on something, and all I did was just run around and destroy everything. Because you could just run around and break anything.
One of the things with COVID was we were really locked down and we couldn't go anywhere. I got actually, friends sent me an old Golden Age Atari and another one of the old things.
Yeah.
So I go to play it. I show I'm old because I got a stiff neck turning my head playing it. It's like, okay, I'm old, but man, the effects suck.
Yeah, I mean, they just had what they had.
They were state of the art. We were going like, I can't wait to see this.
They
is so
had
good.
What they had. It's just what they could do with your TV.
And how was that? That's like going a little circle as we do on this in terms of COVID. How was that in terms of like being busy? All of a sudden, you're just stuck. You can't go.
It was At first I had, I was hanging with my girlfriend a lot, but then that relationship ended. So I had to kind of find out who I am without
Did
work
she
and without a
know though?
significant.
You never told her your secret identity, did you? You're Batman. I mean, now, damn it, we're just
Well,
kidding.
Way to
Kidding.
go.
No, I had to keep
I
it a
would
secret.
get
A
away
lot of
with it.
secrets.
I know how they had to be so tough too, because you'd be out. Well, where could you really go? But you'd see that bat signal, and you're like, ah, shit. I had a garbage plate. I have to go to the bathroom. You don't come back for 2 hours, and you're all bruised.
Maybe you had a rough time in that bathroom, Rob. You never know, man.
Yeah. Well, the funniest part about it is like my friend Janine owns a Vino, so we do takeout after a couple months. You got to call up, order it. You pay. You go down there, you have to text them. It looks like it's a hospital room where they're like operating and they're cooking a barbecue back and serving it. They're coming out with masks and everything.
Oh man, yeah.
It was just so strange. And then like when you went to the store for the first time or all this stuff with the masks.
Well, it's weird how normal it is now. It's
now
part of the
just
yeah.
I liked it in a way because it was like, now I can't do anything. It's like, it's like for a while, my introvert, I had a friend, really worse introvert than my side, where she said, this is the happiest time I've ever had in my life.
About the first 6 months, once I settled into my
Domestic
new existence,
bliss.
it was, I was really having a good time. And then, though I think tonight I'm having my first, I'm going over to a friend's house and playing some board games tonight.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I know. I've done that one other time in the last a month.
I'm watching Supergirl and The Flash.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you. Those shows are terrible.
No, and I hate to say it, but like one of the ones, because I met Tony Isabella, but one of the ones I just couldn't get into was Black Lightning. I tried. And the other
tried too. I try all of them.
And the other one, I tried Stargirl. I really trying to give it a chance. Man, Joan likes it. I know Eclipso's going to be on it, but it was like, okay, it's like a Bendis thing, like you said, where it was just get going.
Yeah, it's their teen romances wrapped in a superhero show. That's what those CW shows are, really.
Yeah.
Well, you're not the one who said it. Somebody at the comic book store said that's all Smallville was Dawson's Creek and superpowers.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Kind of what it was. Yeah, that's what. True.
Yeah, it was on for 10 seasons. I saw every single episode, and not because. And for the first 3 or 4 seasons, I saw it because I was liking it. For the rest of them, I just saw it because I just couldn't believe what I was seeing half the time. I'm just like, I was not necessarily hate watching it, but definitely watching it like you watch The Room, what stupid thing are they going to do?
Since we're unlimited, we'll wrap it up in a little bit. But what is lately the worst movie you've seen where you'd say this really sucked? Because he mentioned The Room.
Oh man,
or TV show.
It's another thing I gotta think about that for a second. I've been watching a lot of trash over this year, so I gotta really think.
No, The Room. I mean, Troll 2 is supposedly up there too.
Yeah, that's another one where is a movie that was almost made by accident. The lead is some guy that it's like the Manos Hands of Fate thing. It's like they put this movie together somehow. There were some people in it.
Pressure you to see so much crap. But one thing I was thinking of in terms of one of the backgrounds we both have is I think you worked at places on East and Alexander too.
Yeah, I used to be.
I did. I
used to run a promotions
corner in Crown, and I just was thinking one of the things that got me was thinking back because I would go to Skylark and I would park and I'd walk through there and go, wow, there are so many douchebags out.
Are you talking about me at the time?
He's not at all. I remember running into you at some time. I said somehow Mike manages to stay away from this, does not become one of them.
Well, it's weird because I kind of look like a douchebag tool, but inside I'm
I was gonna say something, but I thought it was
yeah. But inside I'm just like a normal nerdy person. You know what I mean? It's I'm wrapped in these layers of tool.
So I am. I have all these strange aspects of my personality. It would be like there was one dude who came into Empire Comics. He was a real macho guy, construction worker. But I guess he hid upstairs. He had rooms when he had his buddies over, downstairs watching sports. He had rooms upstairs that were just filled with action figures and toys and everything.
I think the world we're living in now, as far as that kind of stuff, is I think a lot of people are it's okay it's become okay to have the dorky things, just for the most
Yes.
part. Like,
But how is that seeing that when we've been like comic book readers for so long and now it's quote unquote sort of mainstream, even though the mainstream has no idea about, the real comics and stuff. They see the movies. But it was like a cult thing. It was
try
like,
not to be like a snob about it, but I feel like the
Yeah.
people who have like the loudest opinions about comic book movies literally have
No
never
freaking
picked up a
idea.
comic in their entire life.
Yeah, that's the
you know what
problem.
Tony
Yeah.
called it?
Yeah.
Tony called them these fake experts who read Wizard for 6 months.
It's the
That's
the Dunning-Kruger effect. Is that what it's the
But I did the
you becoming
one
an
thing-
expert with very
my
little
best
actual
work in
knowledge?
Empire ever
Yes.
might have been my best work. My friend Melissa had off this week. We went down to Empire, and I told a couple people coming in play with me on this one. So we get in, we talk like the most stereotype dorks. Or did you read the recent Fantastic Four? Now Reed had this power because in issue 44, panel 5 of the third page, he showed glimpses of this.
That was panel 6, actually.
And we were arguing the most self-aware I ever. There was one guy in there. We started talking about the first X-Men movie. We started going on about Wolverine. And we're going, well, he was sort of gritty. Then we looked at each other going, we need to get lives.
Yeah, we got to stop this now. Sometimes just take a hard look in the mirror and just be like, how am I doing?
We become what we hate.
Yeah. And, everybody's kind of doomed in their own way.
It's like that snob reflex when you know something and somebody just says something wrong, and it's like
I have such a problem with that.
And I do too, but
wrestling with that for
it's
years.
harmless, or it's just some harmless thing, but like it's a little snoot thing. Like it drives me crazy if somebody mentions like a record album or a song and they goof it up. And I just want to shut up.
I genuinely, like, what's going on in my mind, the psychosis going on in my mind at that moment is I genuinely think I'm helping that person by interrupting them and correcting them. And I'm just like, and then I feel really bad about them. Like, I'm sorry.
I do the same thing. Another thing I'm bad about it with
like
dogs,
they care.
Because I've seen people who don't know how to talk to dogs, and I've been having dogs my whole life, but I don't want to say something to them because I feel like I'm a snoot. It would help the dog.
Yeah,
but I feel like a jackass.
Yeah, but I also think it's like, that's a useful thing. That's something that.
Well, the damn thing jumps the fences trying to bite me.
Yeah.
But what is the misconception about working at theaters that you hear from people?
I think people look at it as a joke job, but there's a lot that goes on to run a movie theater that nobody realizes. And it literally employs full time over 150,000 people in the US. So, I mean, when they shut all these things down, it really impacted a lot of people.
Yeah.
People kind of look at it like this funny little, hand out popcorn and you're kind of a joke type deal, but there's like careers and lives that depend on this business. And, you can't just shut it down indefinitely like they did.
Multiplexes, especially because there's so much square footage of that place that everything has to work. You have these projectors that all have to work. Exactly. It needs to be cleaned. All this stuff needs to, everything needs, you need to order all the stuff, all the consumables that you need.
Don't you get like for scheduling too? Don't they ship the movies? You have to like have the schedule down. Oh, this is gonna be.
Yeah, just before I left, I just mastered making playlists and programming movies, and now I lost all of my memory of how to do all of that. So it's very annoying. I got to relearn the whole thing again.
You don't get real film reels anymore. I saw this. I was like, and I had a man crush before the one movie. There's Mike sweeping up the theater in a little play thing out there. It's very well acted.
Wait, what do you mean?
There was before the movie started, they had a little of your theater and they showed stuff and they showed you coming in and sweeping up.
Like a little.
It's like a little vignette. You did like some acting.
I don't even remember that. That must have been a long time ago.
I remember when I was a kid, I felt like a jackass because I would get like jujubes and throw them down the aisle, and I felt so bad.
I can't tell you, every time I sit down in a movie theater, the last like 3 or 4 times, and I have a big thing of popcorn, I set it down, it's just flying all over the place. And I just feel like, especially when because I've gone a few times to one of the theaters that's open, and I'm always almost always the only person there, or there's 2 other people there. It's great. Then I threw all this popcorn. It's like the only guy in the theater, and I have to throw a bunch of popcorn around.
I had the one. I felt so bad, but went to see Deadpool 2, and I had yoga class before. and I was like really sore. So my dad wanted a big bucket of popcorn. So I, being a dumbass, I got it first. So we were going out after it was over. I stepped the wrong way on the stair and tripped and threw it on the people in front of me.
Yeah.
Not to be a dick, but I don't clean the theaters anymore, so you can do whatever you want.
Oh yeah. I just feel bad for whoever has to.
Don't damage anything.
The worst though, and I'm convinced I'm probably wrong. I think some guy pissed himself in the seat I sat in one time because I sat down and it was wet.
Oh, that happens a lot. People pee. Remember one time we went into the bathroom once and there was literally feces all over the walls and the ceiling.
I've seen it cleaning bars.
And you assume it's kids.
So you know.
Probably not.
No, it's probably not. But no, a lot of work.
They couldn't reach that.
You know the problem now, I think, especially with social media, where you have a lot of experts who've never done anything. It's like if you do something, people just think, well, oh, I can do it better. Well, take my job for a week.
Yeah. Almost any job that you've never done anything.
Even
like
this, I mean, there is an art to this where you try to be interesting and, you know, so people don't like be sending you hate mail or doing stuff like that.
Not just anybody can do this.
Yeah, I mean, you learn it with
you have to have a computer and a microphone.
Yeah, and you know, who can else do this?
Reasonable amount of broadband internet.
Yeah, you got to learn how to flow a convo and come up with topics.
No, you learn space. Like you start like I try to like for you we were a little extra because we haven't seen you so long and because we're trying this, but I try to like we start out, we go around in circle, then we come back like within like about an hour or so.
Yeah.
And this one's a little long, but you've been so interesting and fun, and it's just good to see you again. So
I'm glad.
It's so they drag me in. I get dragged in. I come in. They ask me to come, and I love to, especially on these ones where we don't have a specific topic or we have a loose topic. Yeah. Because
and then the other thing is I know most of the guests, but every now and again you'll get that out there weirdo who will talk about stuff I don't want to talk about.
Yep.
No, but they are really crazy, and you know, it's like, okay, how are those Mets doing?
And I keep telling you, you can edit these.
We let you talk about whatever you want. That's why we try to avoid politics and stuff. But when guys are doing their conspiracy shit, then we're supposed to be talking about movies.
That stuff's not.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, but that's what you do. But then, man, thanks for being. It's good to see you after all this. I'll be stopping. You know, I'll be getting on a plane to Malta to see you at the theater.
Well, it was a pleasure. You just let me know if you want me to do another
one.
Oh
yeah, well, we're gonna have an Empire reunion and stuff. And Patrick, you can be part of it. You do this stuff.
Yeah, I'll do whatever you need. I'm here to facilitate the carnival. And now
you read the comic books.
I've read the comic books.
So where did you shop from? Did you go to Accession?
Honestly, I never had a specific place because when I was collecting, this is years ago, I haven't collected them since I was in college. I stopped when I was in college because I just ran out of money, and it was getting on the like mid '90s where you couldn't read just one book because there was crossovers every 5 minutes. So to know what was going on, you got to. And for a while I was reading the X titles, which was the worst thing you could have read in the early '90s because every other issue you had to get 9 issues to know what was going on.
The jaded cover, the pop.
Yeah, and I would try to get like, which the cheap cover? I don't care.
13,
I want the cheap
13 different covers.
But I stopped then, but before that, I can't remember what the place was called. It was
Comic Book Heaven. There's one. Comics Etc.
It was in the Parrington Square Mall.
Oh, Wonderland.
Wonderland. That's where it was. Because Wonderland originally was.
I bought all my old Spider-Mans there because they had a half price sale.
They were originally in Victor, and I'm from Victor, so it was in downtown. And then they moved down there. So when I was regularly collecting, and I used to get, and I don't even know, Mike Churchill, who was one of the guys there. They opened a store in Macedon, I think. I don't know if it's still years and years ago. But he was my comic connection.
No, you could get like they had a half price sale. That's where you could like load up on back issues. That's why I said I got a stack of Spider-Man like this.
I just like I think I collected the Punisher. I collected the Yeah, I did. I collected the Punisher. I collected Silver Surfer. Iron Man was my guy. Iron Man, Silver Surfer, the Punisher. Those were the mainstays. I went off and on Batman depending on what was going on in stores. I collected Detective exclusively for a while. But I was a kid. I never had a lot of money, so I could, and that,
Yeah.
And we're talking the years where comics were going from being like 75 cents to like
Yeah,
$3
you remember
an
that's
issue.
still only 75 cents, still $1.
Yeah, and then you think now it's just like, but they jumped into $3 an issue, and I didn't have even $10 a week to spend on comic books.
But,
I was the
but
kid.
It's been a pleasure, my friend, having you on, and finally you're here. We always considered you part of the family here.
Well, I appreciate that. It has been a pleasure for me.
We'll find. I know you're going to get a lot busier. We will try to find a time when we can get everybody.
I can find time.
Plus, this is working too.
Yeah.
If you want to find time, just look at the clock on the wall, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's my shit. Now, we usually have like music at the end, or we don't, unless you would like to sing the Spider-Man or Batman theme. Because we could copyright it, but we don't have any bands to play on here, so.
Not at the moment. But,
no. And they'll nail us if we like post like a video or something.
Yeah,
they flag us from my friends, even like my friend Agostinelli and my friend Michaela Davis said that's crazy, but they get flagged for putting their own music on because somebody sees it.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the dating scene in Rochester next time.
That'd be a pleasure. I can't wait to talk about
Hey, man,
got lots of stories for you.
All right.
Thanks a lot, man. If we could do like 3 hours, but people will fall asleep.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right, thanks, man.
No problem.
Nice to see you, man. Bye.
See you later.